In the history of the world, nothing good has ever followed the words, "We need to talk," especially when they are preceded by a spouse's full name. When Greg became Gregory, I knew the last chapter of our story had begun to unfold. I hired a private investigator who looked like a 1950s gum shoe who had escaped from a black and white detective movie. He captured photos of my wife, Carol, in a hotel room with her boss, John Hoffman, the recently promoted executive vice president of sales at Home First Enterprises, the friendly alternative to the big boxes. The pictures showed Carol and Hoffman in at least 4 compromising positions. From that moment on, I spent every waking moment plotting my vengeance. The week dragged on excruciatingly slow. Carol became very guarded about her workday, which had previously been a major topic of our evening conversations. Each day, she grew a little more withdrawn, but I never let up. "Did anything interesting happen today? Who did you have lunch with?" I would ask. Carol would stammer a vague response and change the subject. Our evenings became eerily quiet. My private investigator had followed them enough to learn that all their meetings took place during long lunches on Fridays. Hoffman would leave for a customer call at 11 o'clock, and Carol would duck out 10 minutes later, claiming she had a chiropractor appointment. We had enough evidence to hang them in divorce court. The papers were all in order, and I was ready for war. I showed up at Home First Enterprises 5 minutes after Carol left. I asked the receptionist to let my wife know her husband was there to take her to lunch. "I'm sorry, Mr. Eden, but your wife left a few minutes ago to see her doctor," she replied. I pretended to forget and called Carol from a prepaid phone. "Good afternoon, Carol Eden speaking." Her voice sounded sweet, almost musical. "Is everything all right?" I could barely get the words out. "What are you talking about?" she asked. I tried to sound concerned. "I wanted to surprise you and take you to lunch. The receptionist said you had a doctor's appointment. Are you okay?" "I'm fine. It was just a routine adjustment at the chiropractor," she replied. But I could tell by her tone that she was lying. I pressed on. "That's strange, because I ran into Dr. Wilsack a couple of hours ago, and he said he hadn't seen you in over a year. When did you change chiropractors?" There was silence on the other end. "Could you at least tell me who our new bone crusher is?" I asked. "I really don't have time for this nonsense right now. We'll talk when I get home tonight." She hung up. That night, as we ordered pizza, I noticed her mood was even worse. I tried to engage her in conversation, but she was distant. I finally gathered my courage and showed her the photos I had collected. "Is this why you no longer love me?" I asked, turning the screen toward her. Her face lost all color, and she fainted. When she came to, I handed her a glass of water. "You cheated on me, and now our marriage is over. Sign these papers so I can move on with my life," I said, placing the divorce documents in front of her. She was speechless, clutching the file as if trying to strangle it. I could see her lips moving as she read the complaint, which specified adultery as the reason for the divorce. As the reality of her actions sank in, she began to wail. I took no pleasure in watching the woman I once loved realize that she had destroyed our marriage. I had prepared for this moment, and I was resolute. I had a second set of papers that used the vague grounds of irreconcilable differences for divorce. "Sign now and get out of my house before I lose control," I warned her. 5 minutes later, her signature was duly witnessed. and the first half of my life ended. I watched as she stood at the end of the driveway, waiting for a cab to take her to the Business Suite Motel on the interstate. I had booked her their usual suite. I wondered if she would find the irony in that. 2 years have passed since that night. I never broke my promise and told a soul until now. And so we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected? Or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button